Yes, I. Greetings again, Almighty, in the name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Selassie I and all things that's good. You see, we'll run through a brief history with the item. Enough respect to all of the subscriber them who stick with I through the thing. You see, till I can post again, because I don't know me definitely bad. See, all of the new subscriber them, all of the people who subscribed during that period as well when I wasn't doing any posting. Enough respect and much admiration. See? Now, and I try digging at the history of the Yardie in Britain, seen as a series. See? So that's the item can get an understanding of the process, the progress, and the experience. You see? Alright. Now, during the Apartheid era, as you know, the Jamaican community was a strong advocate against the Apartheid process. See? You know, any which way we can. See, we usually advocate against it to the best of our ability. See, like for instance, our politicians them use their opportunity, their platform at the UN to state that, to highlight to the world that apartheid was going on and it was unacceptable and things like that. As the first, let's say, be modest and say one of the first countries to highlight the atrocities. See, the fact is, ironically, on the other side of that, Britain was the last country to denounce apartheid. Margaret Thatcher, Britain, all through her career was saying, it's okay, apartheid is okay, it's acceptable, these people are not humans, basically, they deserve what they get, type of thing. See? Alright, that's one part of the thing. Now let's move back to the 60s. See? 1962, when Jamaica get independence, Jamaica wasn't on its own. Uganda as an African state got its independence as well. See? During this time, there was a very popular lieutenant, let's say officer in the then British Army part of Uganda named Amin. See? Amin was also instrumental in the fight and probably eventual capture of Jomo Kenyatta and the Muammar rebel in Kenya. See, because he went and he fought for the British against his own Kenyan people, the Muammar rebels in particular. See, he came to power in the 70s, so to speak, but he was no doubt a ruthless army officer during his period in the service. See, time after a period, there became disagreement and the need for power, and also realization of power. See, brought him to the need to power, and he went against the British. Decided to do his own thing. After a while, he overthrew the government. But we know, as like I said, like in the document, in a particular document that I read, it was as a result of his rise to power why one Sushil Patel migrated to the UK. Now, if you can hear, the name is of Asian persuasion, of an Asian background then, put it that way. Sorry if the word persuasion is offensive, I don't really know. See, he's from an Asian background, particularly Indian, probably Hindu. See? Now, these Hindus in Africa, Uganda, was brought there by Britain to admittedly by themselves maintain the status quo, maintain the inequality, to maintain the superiority complex and the inferiority complex amongst the black community, because they were placed there intentionally and given the support, given access to certain resources and things like that, to further promote and purport themselves as being superior in terms of thinking, knowledge, and understanding. They even believe that themselves. They spoke of it in many documentaries, observing their presence in Uganda before such an uprising and things like that. See, they were strongly racist. In fact, today, one of the most racist people are Asian. The reason why it's so is because they are being basically racist against they themselves, because the whole notion about racism is that the dark skin is inferior. You understand me? So they are the most wicked racists you can find. When you find one a racist Asian, when you find one that's not racist, you're lucky. See? Most people don't even know what racism is anyway. See? So they were placed there as tools, and like I said, they admitted it, to maintain the status quo. Idi Amin came into power, he decided to drive them out. This is not in defense of Idi Amin's action. See? So he decided to drive them out of Africa. You understand me? Nor is it condemnation of his action, because again, if you are going to treat me inferior in a country where I am the dominant in the population, obviously I'm going to organize a rebellion against you and get rid of you. It's human nature. It's natural. See? So again, I cannot condemn. I don't know the full extent of what the intent, the motivation by Idi Amin's movements at that time was. You understand me? I know it's a period of oppression and also a period of rebellion from the oppressed. See? And the oppressors did everything that they could in terms of including narratives, because they control the narratives, including publication of narratives that benefits their cause. We can't deny that. They themselves admit it. It's still a strategy that's being employed today. You understand what I'm saying? So Idi Amin did what he did. As a result, I'm not saying I would have. Alright, as a result, people got displaced, disenfranchised, and I was to move back to Britain, which threatened, traumatized, no doubt, you know, with threat of death, threats to life, and things like that. Seen and were brought back to Britain as a result. So, Sushil Patel was one of these people. Now let me read a little thing about Sushil Patel from the Guardian back then. The Conservative Party and the UKIP. Now UKIP is, we're going at that later. The Conservative Party is a right-wing party of Britain. See? The right-wing party. The Labour Party is the left-wing. Left goes try to stay connected with the poor and work through them, with them, and things like that, and help to develop them. The Conservative Party think they should be a beacon, an inspiration to poor people, and poor people should try to emulate them and try to develop to their standard, be there. Why they are the ones choking the bottleneck where people should come through, and they enjoy doing so. It's like it's their nature to enjoy you struggle to come to the top, and it's their duty to make it harder for you to reach here, because again, it's a club. See, when you have to pass the initiation process before you can become a member of the club, and that's part of the process. Since struggling through the chokehold of the bottleneck to get there. See? So the Conservative is a right-wing agenda. See? Now you have people who want to go further right than that. If you understand what I'm saying, who want to be more extreme in terms of the political principles of right-wingism. See? Now these people are what you would call the UKIP. They were striving to be that thing, because I say the Conservative was moving closer to the left or closer to the center, as if they want to accept some of the claims or some of the realities of the left, of the poor, then put it that way. See? So a vast majority of the membership went to UKIP because they were saying Conservative was moving away from the true aim, the true goal, the true plan of the thing. Seeing, so that UKIP was created and it became very popular. Seeing, so far extreme right, the most extreme, it was the most extreme right party, the closest to Hitlerism as it could have gotten in Britain during its thing. Seeing, it wasn't Hitlerism, Hitler was far right as well. So I'm showing you, I'm just giving you the context of the isms that's at play here. You understand me? So the Conservative Party and UKIP have been involved in a plot worthy of the thick of it after the father of the backbench Tory MP Patel embarked on a double U-turn over his candidacy for Britain's new insurgent force. As Lord Tebbit provoked Downing Street by offering a carefully qualified endorsement of UKIP, the party leader Nigel Farage proudly announced that the father of one of the most prominent Thatcherite MPs, Thatcherite meaning she's a follower of Thatcher, she's motivated by Thatcher, she's impressed by Thatcher, she's a fan of Thatcher. Thatcher is a role model with all the atrocities that went on in South Africa and things like that. See? Proudly announced that the father of one of the most prominent Thatcherite MPs would be standing in Hertfordshire in Thursday's local election. Within a few hours of the announcement, Conservative sources said that Patel, who shares his daughter's admiration for Thatcher, would not be standing for their rivals. UKIP then released a statement saying that Sushi Patel would after all be standing in the Bushy South ward. In the Bushy South ward in the Hertfordshire County Council election, but that he would not conduct any interviews as he recovers from an operation. See? Alright, we'll leave him there, so we just want to explain to you who he is, what Conservative is, what UKIP is, what far right is, and how it relates to separatism, inequality, and division in my eyes. You understand me? I said, no, this is a man who is coming from Uganda, who was to leave Uganda due to Idi Amin's attitude towards them, as towards the race, to his race. You understand me? Now, this leads to a lot of concern in my mind, psychological concern. See? Because at the end of the day, the things that Idi Amin did to to them as a people, obviously it's gonna leave a bitter taste in the mouth. See? So you have to take into consideration these things. See? And in so doing, you have to bear in mind that we are just human beings, and we are susceptible to human nature, to our nature. You understand me? No. He's got certain views and he's established his views, like we can say, openly choosing to be a candidate for a far-right party whose main motivation, whose main aim, their call to action was basically immigrants, was on the back of immigrants. Their campaign platform was on the back of immigration, immigrants coming into the country. You understand me? Now, this man, like I said, was an immigrant in Africa. Citizen, whatever, however, his generation immigrated there. See? He knows the struggle of immigration, the purpose of immigration, and things like that. No, he also had us to be immigrated back to Britain and settled and be accepted and by Britain. You understand? Where how does the double standard comes in when it comes on to other immigrants? Why aren't they seen as observed? Why? What? Given his experience, you know, where's the compassion in regards to such plights as well outside of himself? There is none, because most of these immigrants are black anyway. You understand me? And obviously he's got a B in the bunny for black people, given the fact that an insolent, inferior smelly so-called man who claims to be president choose to order them to leave a country that they control, a paradise that they created. You understand me? So obviously, you know, in terms of when it comes to murder, you know, when you try murder cases, you know, you have to observe three main things in a murder case: means, motive, and accessibility. Now, motive is something that has to be observed in the process of every crime. You understand me? Now, in terms of the Windrush Scandal, there's obviously crimes that were committed against these people. I'm not blaming the current Home Secretary, the daughter of the far-right politician who campaigned against racism. I'm not blaming him for the Windrush Scandal. I'm not blaming his daughter for the Windrush Scandal, but she was placed there to preside and to sort out the whole debacle. Seen, given the fact that she's from a ethnic minority background that would have been considered to be, would have been observed to be compassionate towards the plight or towards the equal treatment of other ethnic minorities or black background as well. See, so in the eyes of the public, she is scot-free from blame. You understand me? This reliever of any form of conspiracy theory or blame or anything, because basically she's an ethnic minority from immigrant background, so she's got good intentions or compassionate intention towards immigrants. Make a sad mistake with that one here. Very, very sad mistake with that one. Like I said, even amongst black people, yeah, the most potent weapon that the enemy could have ever employed has always been one of us. You understand me? They were never able to infiltrate us on their own and personally and gather the intelligence that they need in order to conquer. Always been one of us. Now just imagine an Asian that does not consider themselves one of us. Oh, and also being propagated by the same system as a representation of us. You understand me? Being propagated by the oppressor of the black man as a representation of the black man. How ironic, how treacherous could that be? Let's leave these strong words out of it. Irony and treachery. You understand me? How insensitive could that be, given the fact that you are considering some level of compassion. You have to put somebody, or give somebody the authority who has got motives to be less compassionate or void of compassion in regards to these people, given the fact that they have suffered trauma from this race of people. Put it that way. Black people displaced them out of Africa and threw them into England that accepted them. Now black people come into England looking for whatever under there. These people, before I forget, these people, as you can see, were placed in position of influence within the institutions that provide certain both economic and social resources to the nation. See? These people will never affect the white community. They know. It's not like that, because you know they are just one notch down from being white themselves, because they're just a skin color. You know, they've got Caucasian hair and everything, and all of that. Pardon me. So in the back of their mind, it's easier to be associated with that side of things than the darker side of things, because at the end of the day, the history is not fashionable. It's not something to be associated with, really, who want to be slaves. You know, see? See? So these people, we have to be wary. We no doubt have to be wary about these people because we've got and history and just human nature, whereby we have to observe certain things as, you know, what's in our best interest. So let's read from a quick thing again in regards to the whole, you know, suspicion, I think. A man who was prevented from returning home to the UK for 9 years by the Windrush Scandal has been refused British citizenship because of his protracted absence from the country, despite an acknowledgement from the Home Secretary that the government was to blame. The case highlights the Home Office failure to provide justice to some of those affected. Almost 3 years since ministers first planned to right the wrongs caused by the immigration scandal, Trevor Donald, 65, received a letter from PT Patel, Sushil Patel's daughter, in which she expressed her regrets that the rigidity of immigration legislations means he cannot be granted British citizenship. The law requires applicants to have been physically present in the UK for the majority of the 5 years preceding their application. Donald said that the latest refusal was ridiculous and painful and expressed anger at the continued precariousness of his situation. It is a blow. They should have rectified the situation years ago, he said. The way the system has been treating me and people like me is wrong. Donald was stranded in Jamaica for 9 years after traveling there to attend his mother's funeral in 2010. At that point, he had been in Britain for 43 years, since arriving as an 11-year-old child to live in Birmingham, legally in 1967. He was entitled to citizenship but applied formally to leave to remain only when his mother became ill and he needed to get a passport so he could visit her. His application was successful because he did not have enough evidence to prove. His application was unsuccessful because he did not have enough evidence to prove he had lived in the UK for more than 4 decades. His mother died before he was granted a passport, but he traveled to the funeral using emergency documents, having been reassured by a Home Office official that he would be allowed to re-enter the UK. However, he was denied permission to return later that year. He was only allowed back 9 years later, in 2019, when Home Office staff working for the Windrush Task Force contacted him, apologized, and paid for him to fly home to Britain. He said he was disappointed that his recent application for a British citizenship has been refused. They told me the law says I should be here for 5 years before my application, but it's not my fault. I wasn't here, he said. He is not the only person affected by this problem. Ken Morgan described being caught in a ridiculous catch-22 last year when he too was refused citizenship because of his prolonged absence. Also the result of British officials mistakenly refusing him entry back into the UK. Patel wrote to Donald to say that the injustice he experienced was shameful, but added that the British Nationality Act of 1981 had a strict and immovable requirement to be in the UK 5 years before applying for a British citizenship. For your current application to succeed, you would have needed to be in the UK. Woman, it's the British same institution, the same law that caused him to be out of the country. It was applied illegally, so all of this, in all common sense, is irrelevant. You understand me? Yeah. Sorry about that. So all of this is irrelevant. All of them arguments is irrelevant. But it only goes to speak to the level of intelligence that you accredit to black people and to the Jamaican community as a whole. You understand me? It only goes to speak to the level of selective morality in regards to humanity that you entertain. It only goes to speak to the fact that you might have been embedded or brainwashed to think and do the things that you have done, given the fact that your dad was chased out of Africa by Africans, by the same black people who you're dealing with and treating the way you're treating them today as a revenge somewhat for the sufferings that your parents went through. You understand me? Now, all of these things are being overlooked, given the fact that there's no true intent to demonstrate equality amongst black people, given the fact that there's no true intent to right the wrongs that was done to the people who came back to Britain, the black people who came back to Britain and built up the Britain that other white people destroyed. You understand me? Given the fact that this was all orchestrated, set and profiled and processed by an institution, a government party, a government idealism that always been challenged by the tenacity of Jamaicans. You understand me? No, you can always consider this theory and things like that, but I'm in no position to think of it as such. See? Not until these questions are reasonably investigated and rationally explained. You understand me? I cannot see how you find it in yourself to write to this human being, this life being, and tell him that our laws put you in a position whereby our laws won't accept you. On the other hand, how is that fair? How is that even? How did you feel in yourself? Did you read back that letter when you wrote it, Pretty Patel? You read back that letter then? When you write it? You're not even using the imagination anymore in regards to I people. You're not even putting any effort into your disrespect, into your criminal, into your crimes. You're not even putting any effort into covering your actions. You understand me? I mean, you could have worded that with a lot more tact. You could have worded that a lot more to make it seem like your hands are tied. You know? Might as well be right and tell Jamaica, so watch a man, the British public didn't want to hear and they don't want to hear to this point. You're just hanging on a thread. See, accept whatever I can do for you at this point. My hands are tied. I better if you did right that and say go tell the man. Then go tell the man about the laws did this and the laws, the same laws. Who wrote these laws? In a year, when it comes to year, when it benefits you, you only can afford to amend these things though. Because laws were created on the basis of enhancing humanity and maintaining equality, maintaining humanity to a standard, innit? Now if in this case it's failing, it needs to be amended, innit? But you will never address the law where it's concerned in terms of black people. It's acceptable and it's relevant because who are they? Who are we? Who are us? You know, see it? So you should just be honest and brave and say it like it is. And stop knocking about, you know, like a banger. Just say what you really think and acknowledge what you're doing. We're not stupid. Based on your action these days, I'm thinking that your actions is a revenge tactics based on what Idi Amin did to your father. See, the goal that your father had to run left, and the possibilities that exist today that your ancestors had was to run left. Me can't put it no better way because there's no evidence to suggest otherwise, and I would be stupid to think otherwise. You know, see, again I say this, some of the enemy's most potent weapon amongst us has always been one of us. Black man. See, you are just Asian. You know, see, it don't know. More blessed. Share, like, and subscribe. You know, Rastafari name and all things that's good. You see.